Hi, so today I want to work on some of the classical blocks like you see in kata. So the first one I want to do is the Shuto block. So some people may know it as the Shuto block. The Shuto block is a knife hand block, working on the edge of the hand. So the way Sensei Kimura was teaching it was more of a circular motion. Okay, a lot of things that he did towards the last couple of years of his life, he was working on much more circular type motions. The down block was a circular motion. Shuto block was a circular motion. Before that, we used to do just very straight, choppy movements this way, which also worked, but the way he was teaching it was more, the circle is a very strong motion. So if I could just demonstrate it, Sensei, let me just come for a second. Just make a punch. Which way, right? So if I tell her, make it as strong as you can. So she can resist me that way, she can resist me the other way, push this way. She can make it strong that way, she can make it strong that way, she can make it strong that way. So all four directions she can make it strong, but she can't resist me now. Right? Try to resist it. You can't resist the circle. All right?
I feel it in my elbow.
All right? So she can resist one direction or the other direction, or this way, but not in a circle. You can't resist the circle because there's always changing direction and you're always one step behind. So what we want to do, if you just put the hand back again, the Shuto block, instead of contacting like this, like most times we do this way, if I bring my hand up like this and I got some guy that's really big and strong, what's going to happen is I'm going to get jammed here. Okay, so the tendency is to have to move the body out the way, which is fine. I'm evading it and blocking at the same time. I'm not saying you can't block this way, it's just much more difficult to learn. But if I catch you on this side of my arm, and I go this way. So I'm making a circular kind of a motion, right? So it's kind of like a lowercase n shape, right? So my hand catches here, and I push up and down. I don't think sideways. If I think sideways, it's going to mess me up. I just think up and down, and it does it automatically, right? Up and down, right? My hand doesn't turn until I go here. It turns on the way down. I don't want to turn here, because if I turn too early, it makes me go sideways, okay? So maybe we can go from a slight angle here so you can see this way. So from here, it goes up, and I turn on the way down. If I turn first, it tends to make my elbow want to go out, and that gets weak, okay? So hand this way, up motion, my elbow is in, and I block this way, right? So if you watch from the front, my elbow is here. Just like before I want to do an upper block motion, right? It's here like this. If my elbow stays here, this is very weak. The way I get the leverage is by bringing the elbow in. Then I have a good connection to my body. It tightens all the ligaments and everything in the shoulder here, so it locks everything in nice and strong. And then from there, I just think up and down. Now when I do this, I try to get my pinky side of my hand to come in front of my thumb. Because what that does, when I do that, watch my elbow. When I bring my pinky finger all the way around, my elbow wants to come in. So that's the motion. I come this way, and I block. Okay. Now in the finished position, my hand should be straight up and down. If my fingers point this way, the elbow's in a weak position. If my fingers point this way, elbow's in a weak position that way too. So if Sensei Linda resists me here, my elbow's in a weak position here, I can't connect into it too well, right? And if my fingers point the other way, again, I don't have a connection. But if I'm straight up, now she can push against me. Push as hard as you want. All right? It's a strong connection. She can't move it so well, right? Okay, so that position there is very solid. Okay, so what I want you to think about, okay, this thing, thanks. Imagine your hand like a knife. You're gonna cut across here this way. One, actually not so much here, but more of an upward motion. So if you were to do like 100 of these, you should be all like red in here. Should be sore from rubbing against the body. Okay, so I rub this way and now over. So I want to come all the way over here because I don't know where the punch is coming. In real life, I can see where the punch is. I can make it more shallow, but for kata, we always make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so again, bring the hand up this way. Now elbow stays in as I go up, and then as I finish, the elbow just goes out. If my fingers are straight up and down, I know my elbow's in the right position. And if you watch from the side, my shoulder isn't back like this. It's actually in front, just like a punch. If I did a punch, I wouldn't be punching this way. I'd punch there. Shoulders in position. That's my block. So this is all nice and solid here. Okay? If I do this, then it's going to be weak. I have no connection into my body. Now the other thing that happens, as you get more used to this motion, this hand is going to go this way. Like I'm slicing my body the other way. Now think about it like this. When my hand comes this way, it's traveling quite a big distance. So let's just say it travels about 3 feet. Okay? Well, the other one now, if it just travels 1 foot, it throws everything off balance. So I want to match the distance. My both hands should be traveling the same distance. So if I'm here, when I do the next one, this one comes up, but this one comes around. So now the distances that both hands travel are pretty much equal. They're very close to each other anyway. So see this one now, this one comes up, but this one comes across. So I'm bringing my elbows together, which is also a form of protection. If I don't get the block out in time, at least I have my hands in the way to protect myself, right? So this one comes around, it rubs each time, right? Each time, this way. So make sure you practice with both hands getting this one in position first, right? Getting this motion first. So then, like I said before, this one comes up and it makes a circular motion this way. This one makes a circular motion this way. So everything is matching. And that'll give your kata much more grace. It'll be much steadier too. It won't be like off balance or anything like that. As you come in, it can be nice and sharp each time, right? So don't worry about making it fast and sharp in the beginning. Just get your hands doing the motion. Imagine you're doing like a Tai Chi exercise. Slow, even slower than that. Going backwards, the same thing, right? Each time my elbow doesn't stay here, it comes around. Comes around each time, right? Around each time. Each time. All right? And make sure you're hitting with the edge of your hand this way. You don't want to be hitting with the back of the hand. So we don't finish like this. You see my hand in this position here? It should be palm forward for this particular block, the way I'm doing it, because I'm using the edge of my hand here. Now, an exercise you can do, if I could use this and do it again. Let me use your left hand. So, what you think of is this part of the arm here should be making contact. Now, my elbow is not out. Remember, the elbow is in. And all I'm going to do now is, she gives me just a little bit of resistance, not too much, just enough to keep the contact. And I go like this and back. You can do even less resistance than that, just a little bit. There and back. You see how I'm constantly in contact? My hand is in contact here, and it rolls around, it's in contact on the other side. Okay? Then, because she's giving me a little bit of resistance, she follows me back again. All right? And so this is a practice for the block, right? So if I do this like maybe 50 times or 100 times, I start to learn to get that connection, right? And we do the other side, same again, elbow in, 1, 2. So in the beginning, you can make the movement big, so your body can start to understand it. And then after that, it becomes a little bit more shallow, right? But I can make it just a little bit more up and down, just to get that motion up and down, right? Remember that she has no strength when I do this. This way and this way she has strength, but not in the circle. Okay, good. Thanks. Okay, so that's the Shito block. Now in kata you'll see these blocks a lot of times. It could be that they are strikes. It could be a strike, like a karate chop coming this way. But we do them as blocks in the kata. So there's no reason why we shouldn't make them all look nice and be effective. So sometimes somebody punches you, you should be able to just block it in this way, in this position, this type of block, right? So just to demonstrate, maybe go on this side. Okay, let's get back up a bit. So come in with an oizuki for here. So as she comes in, I block it this way. Okay? Now it's not a striking block, it's actually a deflecting block. So one more time. So what I do is I start with my hand in this position, just so I can get used to the feel of it. So as she comes in, I block it, right? And then a little harder. This way, right? And then, one time. So, this position like I wanted to hit me, right? And I shifted the cat stance. Position, right? One more time. Here. Now if she pushes against me, I can hold her, right? So if my shoulder was weak, push against me, there's nothing there, right? So the shoulder has to be like I'm doing a punch, and then I can feel when she pushes me, I feel it in my back leg here. Push it straight down. Right? Okay, that's good, thanks. Okay. Okay, good. So now next block I want to work on is the get on block, right? So it's a down sweeping block. We used to always do it very traditional this way, and I still teach it to the kids this way because it's a little easier, but eventually we'll turn it into a circular motion again. So like I said before, Sensei Kimura was converting everything into circles. So think of a circle as like infinity, it just keeps going. The linear motion has to always stop and change direction again, right? So if I do this block this way, it stops. First of all, I have to bring my hands into the right position, then they stop, then I have to change direction again. Whereas this is a circular motion, right? Coming this way. But again, it has all the same principles as all the other blocks. The elbows have to be in, okay? So imagine someone was punching you here. What you would think of is hitting them with that little funny bone there, the part that when you hit it, it hurts really bad. Just imagine you hitting it with that. That'll help you to learn how to put the hand in the right position, the arm in the right position. Now, the thing is too, we don't want to go too high, because if I block this way, the tendency is to chop. It becomes a chopping motion. Now imagine somebody's big leg that weighs 5 times more than your arm and it's coming in fast, and you're going to try to block that. The arm very often, gets hurt, or the block sometimes bounces off and the kick still gets you. If you're early enough for the block, then you can make it work. But with this block, you think, first of all, you protect yourself, elbows in. So if I'm in position here and somebody wants to kick, elbows there, he's gonna kick my elbow, right? And then from here, what happens is I sweep it out. So I'm not making contact with the leg on the top, I'm making contact on the side. If I make contact on the top of the leg, I'm taking the force, a lot of the force of that kick in my arm. And I've seen a lot of people have broken arms trying to block a front kick. So the trick is to block it on the inside. So if I'm kicking, you want to block on the inside of the leg, not on the top of the leg. So if I go this way, there's a tendency to block straight down. And that's when you're going to take all the force in your arm, and good chance you can break your arm. But if I bring it in a circle, I'm actually making contact on the side of the person's leg. So that energy doesn't stop. I'm not stopping it. As they're kicking, all I'm doing is moving the leg to the side. The kick will continue. So all that energy continues, and I'm not taking it in my arm. So the way we're going to practice it is just think like your elbow is going to rub against your belly like this. Not up here though. Try to keep your hand maybe slightly down like that. If you can see from here. So slightly below my elbow. Because what I'm going to do now is bring it around. So I get a kind of a circular motion here, right? It's more like an oval shape. So elbow rubs. This is the rubbing motion, right? You can try the other side. Rub your elbow each time against your body. Don't have a space here, because that's where the kick will get you. So imagine someone was kicking and you just want to jam it with your elbow. Okay? So that's the position here, right? So I come around, my hand is on the outside, the elbow's in. Now from here I make a little loop. Right? Elbow in, a little loop, and then the whole arm continues out. This way. Right? 1 and 2. For the other side, elbow rubs against the body, against your belly like this, and then the hand actually goes this way. So imagine like your hand wants to almost go out each time, just to get that feeling. The elbow in and then around, right? Elbow in and around. So if I've already done one block, what I'm going to do is I bring this one across, and I'm going to rub my arm. See? So this one comes in. I'm not bringing it up. It stays shallow here, very shallow. It doesn't come high. And it comes. This one comes across, just like on all the other blocks. It comes across, and I block. out, across, and block. Out, across, and block. So especially the people who are going for grading, if you're going for black belt or even brown belt grading, make sure you practice this because this is going to be on the test. And definitely you can't get a black belt without being able to do these kind of blocks that we're going over. And make your cutter look so much nicer, it has more flow to it. Okay, so another thing to think of is, imagine someone's grabbing your arm. Well, if I wanted to knock the hand off my arm, I have to bring my elbow across. I can't go like this, right? The elbow goes across this way, and then see how this arm comes in? Scrape it off, right? So to demonstrate that, if you have somebody that can help you, they don't have to be a karate person, just somebody that knows how to grab your hand. So if you just use this scissors in there again. Okay, maybe go on the side, might be easier for you to see. So grab my wrist. So don't grab it too tight because you're gonna struggle with it, right? So a little looser than that. Less than this, right? So what I do is I bring my elbow out like we practiced, what we talked about before, right? Now, from here, I can't really reach it, so I have to bring the arm across. And what I'm going to do is scrape it off. Then she grabs my hand with the other hand. Again, nice and light, don't have to grab too tight. This elbow comes to here, squeeze it across, bring it across so you can reach it with the other hand, and scrape it off, right? Again, 1, 2, and 3. Okay? She grabs me there. So 1, see how my hand is low? I don't want my hand to be too high because what will happen is I'm going to end up getting a chop. And I don't want that motion because that's what's going to hurt me. Okay? Especially when there's some guy with a big, strong front kick coming at you. Right? So this hand is going to have to come across so I can reach it because from here I can't reach it. So I bring the elbows together. Elbows together and so you see a big common denominator in all the blocking we do is elbows come close together. So like if you watch me from the back, I'm stretching my back muscles. If you watch my gi actually gets tighter. All right, my back. So one more time here, I come out and I scrape it off. Out and I scrape it off. And scrape it off, right? Good. Okay, so that's one, we're going to do another thing too. That's one way of practicing to get the hands to move in the right positions. Now the other one is we're going to work on punching. You know, it's hard to stand there with your leg out for somebody to block it all the time. So we just make sure, so if Linda does a punch here, just let's pretend that that's a kick. It could also be a punch, right? So we can be blocking it the same way. So what's going to happen is I'm going to bring my elbow, like I said before, these little bones on the inside here. Just imagine touching your arm with that. So that's the position first, right? My hand is not above her, because if it's above, watch what happens. It becomes a shortcut, a choppy motion. All right, so I come this way, my hand slightly below, you can see my hand here, and it's just going to loop over the top. You can see how it flicks her out the way, right? So 1 and 2. Okay, let's do the other side. So it's coming here, make sure the punches aren't up here, just keep it down low. So elbow comes in, my hand is below her arm and over, right? Again, 1 and 2, right? So now once we get used to that, she punches with the other one. So I keep this hand where it is, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and see that means I'm going to chop. So the hand is just going to barely make it over the top. The other one here, and then it just kind of loops over the top. And what happens is it pushes her this direction first, and then the other direction. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So it's pushing this way. So if you think a kick is coming from lower, my elbow protects me. So if I'm a little bit late, at least I get some protection from my elbow. It's not really nice for the other guy because his toes are going to hit your elbow and it's not going to be pleasant. But think of it from like self-defense point of view. We were trying to protect ourselves, right? So it comes in 1 and 2. Right? So when I do block, I'm actually blocking on the inside of the person's shin, not on the top of the shin. Okay? So to go over it nice and easy, just pretend we're going to do some blocks. Someone's kicking. So as the kick comes in, just think, bring the elbow. Okay, now I step over and I switch. Okay, elbow in, my hand is almost like my hand wants to go out to exaggerate that feeling, right? That brings my elbow in. Okay, and then from there, this hand's going to come together. Remember I said, Bring the elbows together. So as I step, elbows together and block. Here. So now what I can do is as I bring my elbow, I can bring the other elbow. I can bring them together now. This way, right? 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Going backwards, the same thing. 1 elbow together. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. All right? So that circular motion now is sweeping the block away. You notice it's called a geran barai. Barai is the sweep, like ashi barai is the sweeping motion. So it's not a blocking motion, it's a sweeping motion. So we don't block the kick, we sweep it out the way. Just like sometimes people block this way too. We block, you see how it's a circular motion, catching the outside of the leg, this way, knocking it to the side. So the energy of the kick continues. It's the same here. The kick comes up and it continues, the kick will continue past me. Like a bullfighter. A bullfighter doesn't stand in front of the flag and then the bull hits him. He moves out of the way. All right? Let the energy continue. There's no way you can stop a bull charging at you. So imagine the kick comes, you don't want to stop the kick. You're taking all that force, and that's where a lot of injuries happen. I've refereed in a lot of tournaments, and I know of at least 2 people who've broken their arms blocking a front kick, doing it the wrong way by accident. So we don't want to do that, right? So when you start doing kata, you'll start to see how this blends in. Now, I did a video talking about the turns in the katas. So let's just say we do pinan shodan from this position, right? Remember we did the turn. Okay, so now all I do is I make the circle. Punch and I turn. Now the circle. Right? Here, same motion. I'm trying to go under. This way. Like I want to go under the person's kick. I'm not really doing that, but that's the motion. I just bring the hand further back and 1, 2. So I get the circular motions into my blocks. You start doing it in kata, it's a way of practicing it a lot so that when you spar, it's just going to come natural. So if I'm in this position, somebody kicks, I don't have to go like this. All right, from here, all I do is sweep it. Just sweep it out the way. Basically just deflecting it and let the energy continue past me. All right, so these 2 blocks are the ones I want you to practice the most. So get a lot of repetition in it. You can just stand there, you know, doing a down block or doing a shto block. Just getting that practice. The more you do, the easier it'll be to correct. So don't think, well, I don't want to practice the wrong thing and I've been doing it wrong. I'm just going to get good at doing it wrong. It's okay because at least there'll be something to correct. If you don't practice at all, there's nothing to correct. And you know, you're never going to do it right first time anyway. So anytime you practice it, you can always be doing a certain amount of it incorrectly. And bit at a time we tweak it and correct it. So main thing is repetition. And that's something you got to do a lot on your own. You can do it, you know, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I got to do an hour a day or something like that. It can be just 10 minutes here, or 2 minutes there. It adds up over the course of a week or 2. It'll start to become more natural. And then finally, when we get back to the dojo, when we start training, you guys will be way ahead of where you would have been. So keep it up, keep practicing, and we'll start working on the next video.